3rd Global Maritime India Summit 2023 concluded with solutions to take India's blue economy to bigger heights, with focusing on green port, green shipping, decarbonization, technical innovation, maritime safety security, maritime reinsurance, which the revolution in the maritime industry has showcased in the recent past. By maximizing the FDI, reducing the turnaround time in the ports, creating abilities to build ships like indigenously built INS Vikrant, successful implementing of Sagarmala project, and of course the need of the hour, transforming the shipping world with digitalization, with better high-tech ports and their connectivity, are some of the key aspects focused in this new India maritime journey, which tends to connect, collaborate, and create a new world of opportunities. With this, we will take you in interaction with the stakeholder who will be sharing their experience about the Global Maritime India Summit 2023 and the new revolution which is helping expanding the India in maritime business globally.
First of all, sir, welcome to the True Hunt. And as we are aware that you have given 38 years to the industry, marine industry I'm talking about. So how you see the success of this grand event, which started with a grand start, with PM inaugurating more and more MOUs to this industry. What would you like to say on that?
I think seafaring has been the unseen profession which actually connects, collaborates and creates. There's a lot of sea blindness, and towards that extent I think this conference has given a lot of visibility to the maritime profession, which are going to be autonomous, are going to be managed by that unconscious competencies of these seafarers. And that's what we need to get. I repeat, unconscious competencies. Now you may ask me what that means. Are you aware, how many words are you aware in English language which end with the word ship? How many words which end with the word ship? So if you look at my book on ship-to-ship transfer, the seafaring profession has given me certain competencies which is unimaginable, which I'm not trying to put down any profession, but a person in a shore profession cannot even imagine, cannot comprehend what it takes to move a ship from point A to point B 99.95% of the time successfully, to move that lifeline, whether it's fuel, whether it's grain, whether it's passengers, and the amount of work which has been done to develop a seafarer. So I've been working at pre-sea institutes, post-sea institutes. Now for the last 5 years I have concentrated on making the ship captains aware of what these hidden competencies are, and then serve the industry.
As you said, making of seafarers is an important part, and we agree with the logistics system runs on the backbones of the seafarers. But sir, giving a better infrastructure, having better ports, more digitalization, as the government is talking about. So don't you think that is also supporting seafarers to give a better system?
Yes, definitely. The last mile connectivity, what we call, we bring the cargo to say Mumbai port or JNPT. And then after that, the process is taken over by the logistics, the supply chain management. So the infrastructure plays a vital role. If you look at the cost of transporting goods by rail or by air or by road, the sea is a percentage, a small percentage of the whole cost. And even the pollution created by sea is very, very little. So India having such a large coastline, it is imperative we build up the infrastructure. India has been at the forefront of maritime trade from BCs, but then it is a cruel game played on to our country where we ignored this entire structure. So the present government and what it's done, it is amazing. It's amazing as far as the infrastructure has been developed.
Especially Sagarmala is known to be a great example.
Absolutely. Sagarmala is a great example of the entire connectivity not only for the maritime sector, but even for us, to travel from one place to another today is so convenient.
I'll come to now seafarers, more and more employment in this sector. So as our Honorable Finance Minister also talked about, the more FDI has been since the 9 years. FDI means foreign direct investment. If the foreign direct investment comes, then more and more employment is also generated in the sector. So how you have seen this employability in the part of seafarers?
Besides what you said, FDI, seafarers bringing in a lot of money. If you heard what he said, was $1.7 million was what they bought in the last 1 year. So that also needs to be acknowledged. But coming to your basic question, there is a lot of connection in our GDP. We haven't truly calculated the contribution of seafaring and the merchant navy as such and the effect on GDP. Whereas UK and USA claim about 5 to 10% of the GDP is based on the merchant navy. And I think the same thing is with India too. And work needs to be done in that to identify what contribution of GDP is contributed by the seafarer. And that related to the FDIs would then give a proportionate structure for right investments in the right place.
But still, sir, FDI plays a major role, as it is said.
Oh yes, FDI does play a major role. Now with the autonomous ships coming in, we will require that FDI to actually train and upskill our people to actually meet those requirements, because many of the autonomous ships are not being built in India. So it's technology being pressed by the European countries and USA because they don't have manpower. So they want to remove manpower from the ships. But when you remove manpower, the ships have to be operated by sure organizations in like a controlled draft. And that's the position where we seafarers have to relocate ourselves.
So in this case, as it is talked about that British policies to be changed and brought more India-centric policies. As you're aware, still we are following those policies from the British era in terms of marine I'm talking about.
Oh, a lot of change has taken place from British, and I mean we had a legacy problem. One significant change is India have introduced the tonnage tax, but in the tonnage tax they connected seafarer training. So seafaring is such a critical operation where besides it's like a doctor. If you just do an MD and don't do your residency, you don't become a doctor. You can't practice. So similarly here, once you do your training ashore, unless you do a tenure on board as an apprenticeship, you can't climb up the ladder. So that slot on board is very critical. But Indian ships were on the decline. And how can we get slots? And Indian officers were in demand. But how to create them without slots on board of ships? The Indian government came with a very unique idea of linking the tonnage tax to seafarer berths. But they could impose that only on the Indian ships. Now, they took this matter up to the IMO to say that every ship should have at least 2 or 4 berths for cadets. Now, that's not a mandatory requirement, but India took that up. For some reason, maybe we didn't, the right people with the right voice could not convince them, but this is something we need to continuously keep banging at IMO, that every ship should have mandatory berths, because where the future going to come from? So this is where we have broken the legacy, and in international trade, if a legislation has to come about, that has to be practiced in a country before they practice what you preach, the concept. And India is practicing that. All our ships have a number of cadets mandatorily. And that's why we can tell IMO about this.
Sir, my last question to you, of course, I'm taking again this third of this global event related to maritime, which India has conducted. So how do you see the success going forward, and what kind of approach would be adapted to further follow up so that the implementation plan is effectively seen everywhere?
Yeah, so I can talk to you personally at my level and at a global level in this GMIS. For me personally, I've already got 3 MOUs and I'm trying to...
Can you name those MOUs?
Not yet, because I've not signed it. Intention has gone out. But what they want me is...
In the areas of?
In the area of leadership, management and motivation. As you know, leadership creates direction, management the process, and motivation the energy to get there. So for any of the projects, you require these 3 things. So I work on the behavioral skills. Technically, I'm a technical person. I've made a shift to behavioral skills. So for a person to work, a good 30-40% of his life is about technical skills, but nearly 60% is behavioral. People get employed for technical skills but sacked for behavioral, right? So I work on that area. So there's been 3 MOUs in the process of being signed, so once that is done.
We would like to wish you all the best so that everything is formulated and in a right way.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And I got inspired over here at the GMIS about the MOUs, because it's a thought, it's an intention, and you're creating that, putting it into something. And I can see the number of MOUs have been signed, the first and the second, and been related into action. That is very inspiring, and I don't know have the exact figure, but the present MOU is being signed here is also going to be action. That's very inspiring. I thank Prime Minister Modi ji for this brilliant thing. When I spoke earlier, when you speak to some of the authorities, if you don't think you can sign an MOU with them, but they are coming forward and saying, come on, sign an MOU with us. Do this for us. I'm an author of spirituality leadership. I'm bringing spirituality as a competency, not something mysterious. And for whatever we're going to do, whichever area, these competencies are the underlying. Because the world is going to get more volatile, more uncertain, more complex, more ambiguous. And how to deal with that world. You may
Especially we have seen uncertainty after COVID especially.
COVID and even now the recent problems which are occurring in the Midwest, the Middle East. India will have to take a stand soon, and there's an uncertainty of Third World War. I hope it never happens, but what I work on is bringing humanity, not historically division of religions. Religion is just disciplining masses in a particular way.
Sorry to interrupt you. In nutshell, we could say that this event with setting an example which you are giving, that has given you a reality of MOUs to sign. So we can say that it is a successful journey of the government of India.
Absolutely. I have not been able to participate in the first and the second one, but this one I participated, and right from day one I've been coming here. Like I told you, religion is about crowd control, whereas spirituality is the in thing, and India is the whole core of it. I can see spirituality in each of the events over here, and I would like the people of India to notice it and select the right people.